Everyone, I am Mary Francis M. Gatbunton, presenting a case about lower respiratory tract infections. Let me brief you about what the case is all about. First, we have a 24-year-old female that got a co-infection with new coronavirus pneumonia and influenza A virus. Ang maganda sa case na ito ay kahit na nag-positive siya for influenza A virus, hindi pa natatapos yung treatment niya ay nag-show agad yung symptoms ng another condition which is yung COVID-19. So, it is by Tang X et al. In 2020. So next, let's go to the anatomy and physiology of the case. So lower respiratory tract infection includes the trachea. Pag dumaan dito yung air, minomoisten and warm to ng trachea natin para ma-prevent yung mga foreign particles from accumulating sa respiratory surface natin. May C-shaped rings to na nagpo-protect sa trachea from collapsing and nag-aalaw ng food na makapass through sa esophagus para di siya ma-stuck sa trachea. Dito din nakakapag-produce ng mucus. Yun yung protective substance ng trachea para matrap yung foreign particles at maalis sa respiratory system natin via pag-ubo natin. Next is yung bronchial and bronchioles. So, nakakonect yung trachea natin sa bronchial passage. Tapos, dito na di-distribute yung air hanggang sa makarating siya sa bronchioles and alveolar sacs. So, para saan to? Bale, passageway talaga siya papunta sa respiratory zone natin which is yung alveoli and lungs. Mga sangay-sangay ng bronchi yung nandito para makatravel yung air papunta at palis ng lungs. Ayan, next naman is yung alveolar sacs natin. Dito nag-end yung structures ng bronchioles. Yung alveoli yung part ng lungs na nag-exchange ng oxygen and carbon dioxide tuwing humihinga tayo. Very functional yung gagawin ni alveoli dito which is gas exchange. Yun yung grape-like structure, alveoli yun. So, ano ginagawa nito? For gas exchange. So, bali yung alveoli, yung respiratory structure ng lungs natin. Bali, ito yung nagko-compose ng lung tissues. Yung parts ng lungs natin, tawag doon lobes. 'Di ba? May superior, middle, and inferior lobe tayo. Pero yung left lung natin, wala siyang middle lobe kasi andun nakalocate yung heart natin. So, bawat paghinga natin, nakadepende yon sa pressure na nasa thoracic cavity natin. Pag mataas yung pressure, compress yung lungs, bali ma-expel mo ang air. Pero kapag negative ang pressure, nag-expand yung lungs, kaya nakaka-inhale tayo ng air. Yung common kasi na lower respiratory tract infection natin is pneumonia, which is ayun nga yung nagpo-produce ng crackling sound sa lungs natin, tas nahirapan tayo huminga. Tas yung pathogen kasi sa pneumonia, iba-iba. Pero yung commonly is yung Staphylococcus aureus, Streptococcus pneumoniae, tas ayun na nga, Haemophilus influenzae, which is yung flu infections natin. Then brief lang, upper respiratory tract system, nandito yung nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx. Basta dito lang magiging passageway lang siya ng air dito na basta dito i-clean yung air ganon. Make sure nila na yung air na pupunta sa respiratory zone natin is pure air talaga and wala ng foreign particles. Next sa epidemiology, yung COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on the Philippines with the country reporting its first case on January 30, 2020. As of May 3, 2023, approximately 4.1 million people have been confirmed as infected with the COVID-19 virus in the Philippines, and over 4 million had recovered and around 66.4 thousand died. So, ayan na, pathophysiology ng COVID-19. Mainly, ini-infect ng SARS-CoV-2 o yung COVID virus ang alveolar cells natin. Di ba ang alveoli ang responsible sa gas exchange? Kaya nagkakaroon si patient ng respiratory syndrome since ang inaatake niya ay ang alveoli. Bali, ang SARS-CoV-2 virus kasi, may spiral S protein siya sa loob nun may single strand RNA na magre-replicate sa host cell natin. Pero paano? So, yung S protein, ayan yung key. Tas yung ACE2 receptor na nasa alveoli, dun siya magbabind para magpakalat sa host cell yung nasa loob ng virus na single-strand RNA. Ito mangyayari, kapag nag-inhale ka ng SARS-CoV-2 na nagtatransmit via respiratory droplets, kapag umubo, umaching, fecal oral route, magta-travel yun from nasal or oral cavity Kasi yung nasal, yun yung sa nose natin, oral cavity, yun yung sa mouth. Kapag obstructed yung nasal cavity natin, pwede tayo huminga via oral cavity. Papuntang trachea, then bronchioles, then tas papunta na sa alveoli kung saan yung gas exchange nangyayari. 'Di ba nga, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Para yung oxygen mapunta sa blood, tas yung blood maging carrier para ma-distribute systematically sa body yung oxygen, tas ma-exhale ang carbon dioxide. May types kasi yan ng alveolar cells. Type 1 for gas exchange. Type 2, nagpuproduce ng surfactants which is yun yung nagka-clean and humidify ng air particles. And type 3 or yung macrophages. Macro meaning big and phages meaning eaters. So sila yung kumakain ng mga big particles or synbiotics or most commonly is yung mga virus na pumapasok sa respiratory zone natin. So, pag nakapasok na nga yung SARS-CoV-2 virus sa alveoli, bali yung S protein yung key, tas yung type 2 alveoli, may ACE2 receptor sila na nagsisilbing lock. Kaya doon nagbabind yung virus, tas i-release yung single-strand RNA sa loob para makapag-infect ng host cells. Pero recap lang kung ano ba yung ginagawa ng ACE2. Nagtiturn ito ng angiotensin 1 to 7, which is yun yung pag-drop ng blood pressure natin. Kasi 'di ba alam natin yung ACE1 nagte-turn into ACE2, and ang ACE1 responsible siya for increasing our blood pressure. While yung ACE2 naman, yun, na-turn na niya angiotensin 1 to 7, which is decrease ng blood pressure, nakakapag-relax siya ng blood vessels, and may anti-inflammatory properties din dito. So, di ba nag-lock and key na yung virus sa ACE2 receptor natin? Ang gagawin niya sa loob ng cell is mag-replicate and assemble. Paano? Mag-fuse siya sa membrane ng cell, tapos marirelease yung single-strand RNA. Tapos i-hijack niya yung transcription. Ang normal transcription natin 5' to 3', di ba? Pero magiging reversed yun, magiging 3' to 5', tapos magpuproduce siya ng iba pang S proteins, tapos lalabas na siya sa ACE2 receptor as viral particles. Makikita niyo sa picture na na-infect niya yung alveoli, kaya ma-irritate yung alveoli natin, tapos iuubo mo yung virus, kaya highly infectious ka. Tapos, di ba, sinakop na ng virus yung alveoli. Magbo-burst siya at magre-release ng cytokines. Ito yung pro-inflammatory properties natin katulad ng interleukin, tumor necrosis factor, and many more. So, yung mga inflammation na yan, magbibigay siya ng sign and symptoms na redness, pain, and swelling. So, di ba, after ng alveoli is yung blood. May blood yan para ma-distribute yung oxygen systematically. Magtatransmit sana siya ng oxygen, pero yung gagawin is yung cytokines, maglalagay siya ng holes doon sa alveoli natin, may barrier doon, magiging permeable yung fluid ng blood para ma-leak out sa gitna ng blood vessel and alveoli. So, imbis na oxygen and carbon dioxide na mapapass through sa thin barrier ng alveoli, magiging thicker yung barrier na yon kasi nga naging viscous na yung blood, permeable na yung blood. Kaya yung gas exchange difficult na ma-achieve kasi nga may fluid na. Yun yung tawag sa acute respiratory distress syndrome. So similar lang siya sa edema, which is may fluid built up na dun sa dun sa alveoli natin, which is dapat makapag-transport ng oxygenated blood systematically. So, di ba yung blood naging permeable, tas wider, pero localized pa lang yung infection na yon, particularly sa alveoli. Pwede pa siya maging systematic papuntang bloodstream, kaya magkakasepsis si patient. Pero ang malala, papasok yung white blood cells kasi nga may inflammation na detect. As immune response, yung neutrophils magfo-form ng pus or nana, kaya lalong kakapal yung barrier, kaya mas mahirap lalo ang gas exchange. So magka-collapse yung alveoli kasi di nakagawa ng surfactants para ma-expel yung virus kasi nga pinull-in na siya ng type 2 alveoli. Tas napakalat na niya yung SARS-CoV-2 doon sa mga host cells natin. Kaya nagkaroon na ng inflammation, tas immune response, which is later on, magiging fibrosis na siya, which is, di ba, pag fibrosis, consistently nag-work up or consistently nire-repair yung lungs over time. Tapos isa-try nila i-repair pa yung epithelium na magre-result ng scar tissue sa lungs. Kaya pag nagka-scar tissue sa lungs, alam natin, ma-harden yung lungs. Di ba dapat hindi harden ang lungs kasi nga, dito yung gas exchange, kailangan niya dilate and mag-constrict. Pero kung hardened yung lungs, mahirapan na yon sa pag-functionan ng dilation and constrictions. Another note is yung cytokines din. Pwede siya mapunta sa brain, particularly sa hypothalamus natin. Kaya tataas yung body temperature mo as an immune response sa virus na nasa lower respiratory tract mo. Then, moving on, ayan na. Signs and symptoms ni patient. January 21, 2020, napunta si patient sa hospital with a 10-day history of fever and dry cough. And non-specific symptoms like abdominal pain and diarrhea. Pinakita din dito yung diagnostic test niya, which is, ayan, all naman yan within normal range. So, normal range lahat. Pero, take note, yung lymphocyte count natin, slightly low siya within the reference range. Meaning, may possibility ng viral infections, autoimmune disorders, or certain medications or stress. Pero, ang pwedeng maging sanilang dito is yung viral infection since wala naman sa patient history na tinitake siya ng may autoimmune disorder siya, certain medications or stress si patient. May mild decrease lang, hindi siya significant masyado pero sign siya na yung immune system ni patient is somewhat compromised. So, kailangan niya ng further investigation to determine yung underlying cause ng infection or bakit ganun kababa or nag-slightly decrease yung lymphocyte count ni patient. Then, going back, ayan, sa diagnostic test niya, makikita dito, CT scan si patient. January 21, 2020, wala pang abnormal signs. Pero, in RT-PCR si patient, throat swab, nag-positive siya for influenza A antigen and negative sa influenza B virus antigen. So, dinischarge dito si patient with oral levofloxacin tablets, 0.5 grams or 500 milligrams 7 days for 7 days, and oseltamivir capsules 75 milligrams twice a day for 7 days. So, ayan, yung kasi, oseltamivir, first line treatment talaga siya for influenza A virus, which is a neuraminidase inhibitor. Kasi nga, yung influenza A virus, siya, produce ng neuraminidase and enzyme, which is, kaya may oseltamivir, ini-inhibit niya yung enzyme na produce ng influenza A virus para mabawasan yung pag-spread nito within the respiratory tract and ma-cleave niya yung sialic acid residues from host cells para nga ma-prevent yung release ng newly formed viral particles from infected cells. Dahil nga na-block na yung neuraminidase enzyme from influenza A virus, na-help na or nasa-shorten na yung duration and severity ng flu symptoms by influenza A virus. Dito naman sa levofloxacin, inihinibit niya yung DNA gyrase and topoisomerase 4 enzyme, which is kasi yung levofloxacin, fluoroquinolone broad spectrum antibiotic siya. Antibiotic meaning bacterial siya. Ang kay patient viral kasi nga virus yung meron siya. Pero ang kasi hindi talaga siya directly nagta-target ng influenza virus. Pero pwede siyang i-prescribe kapag may naisip silang or meron silang notion na baka merong secondary bacterial infection si patient or may co-infection siya as complication dahil sa flu niya. So dito, feeling ko irrelevant talaga yung pag-diagnose ng levofloxacin kasi nga na symptoms ni patient, 10-day history of fever and dry cough. Flu symptoms siya na nagtagal. So, pwede talaga siya siguro as countermeasure prophylaxis talaga yung levofloxacin. Pero ang main treatment talaga kung ayon sa diagnosis is nag-positive siya sa influenza A virus is oseltamivir. So, ayan. Pero, ang nangyari kasi dito, January 26, 2020, bumalik si patient. Nag-worsen yung symptoms niya kasi merong bagong symptoms si patient, which is chest pain. This time, limited yung RT-PCR nila. So, hindi nila matest for COVID-19 si patient dito. Ang ginawa nila, ayan, within normal range pa rin naman yung blood culture results niya. ang notable kasi dito is yung chest CT niya. Yung findings kasi na nagsasuggest ng presence ng acute respiratory distress symptoms kasi nga i-take note natin yung patchy ground glass opacity sa lateral basal segment ng lower lobe of the right lung. Ibig sabihin nag-increase yung density ng lung tissue natin. Tas meron pa siyang vascular thickening in the lesions, meaning may inflammation siya and fluid build up in the lung tissues, which is kanina katulad na kinuwento ko sa alveoli kanina na pathophysiology ng SARS-CoV-2. So infected na yung host cells ng SARS-CoV-2 virus. So dito patchy ground glass opacity ang naging um, key keyword ng ng physician to diagnose na ay COVID-19 to, co-infection with COVID-19 na to, kasi nga nakita sa CT scan yung patchy ground glass opacity sa right lang ni patient. So, ayan, na-diagnose na si patient ng COVID-19 and eto, in-isolate siya si patient, then kinwarantine, tas pati yung mga close contact ni patient is kinwarantine. Anong nangyari, binigyan si patient ng Abidor, 200 mg thrice a day, levofloxacin, tuloy lang, 500 mg secondary bacterial infection, and misinterferon atomization. So, 500 IU twice a day. So, anong nangyari kasi, etong Abidor, new drug siya, which is hypothetical, pero antiviral siya and commonly prescribed siya to manage symptoms or i-target na niya directly yung SARS-CoV-2 virus. So, eto, may levofloxacin pa rin si patient kasi nga, in the context ng COVID-19 treatment niya, para ma-prevent pa yung secondary bacterial infections, lalo na in severe cases ng COVID-19 kasi nga nagka-chest pain na si patient na new symptoms. Dito may misinterferon atomization tayo, which is yung interferons kasi yun yung proteins na nag-regulate ng body's immune response to viral infection. So body, pag in-inhale mo tong interferon medication directly sa respiratory system natin, mabuboost or yung immune response natin against the virus para ma-reduce yung pagka-severe ng symptoms and pagkatagal ng illness natin. Then, ayan, makikita nyo dito sa February 5, within treatment na to ni patient, makikita yung enlarged scope of lesion in the lateral basal segment of the lower lobe of the left lung with surrounding exudation and thickened vascular shadow. Merong abnormality sa left lung natin kasi nga nag-increase siya ng size. So, evidence ng exudation, meron talagang fluid or pus. Katulad nga ng pathophysiology kanina sa SARS-CoV-2, nag-leak out na sa blood vessels into surrounding tissues yung fluid. Kaya yung thickened vascular shadow or yung thickened barrier ng alveoli nag-i-indicate ng prominence or thickening ng blood vessel within that affected area kasi nga may inflammation na or increased blood flow sa alveoli natin due to COVID-19. Kaya dahil nga tina-target nga yung ACE2 receptor natin, nagkaroon ng increased blood flow and nagiging difficult na yung gas exchange. Pero dito naman, February 11, 2020, within treatment na yan, yung lower lobe ng left lung niya, yung lateral basal segment of lower lobe of left lung, significantly reduced and dilated. Meaning, yung treatment na Abidor, misinterferon, and levofloxacin is gumagana siya. Na gumaling si patient. Nag-dilate na yung lungs niya. So, yung lesion in the lower lobe of right lung na-absorb na, meaning bumababa na yung fluid build-up na nasa alveoli natin and recovering si patient. Ayan. So, ang naging drug therapy problem kasi dito is needs additional drug therapy because of untreated condition. Dapat kasi una pa lang talaga, nung nag-RT-PCR sila ng flu symptoms, na-overlap kasi ng possibility na magkaroon talaga ng COVID-19 si patient, which is yung COVID-19 that time is very rampant. So, dapat nung nag-RT-PCR ng influenza virus, which is the common flu virus, is in RT-PCR na rin nila for nasal swab yung COVID-19. Ay, by the way pala, noong January 26, di ba limited yung testing kit ng COVID-19? Then, yung January 28 na, 2 days after, may testing kit na sila and na-confirm na yung COVID-19 via RT-PCR. So, ayun, para maaga sanang na-treat yung sign and symptoms ng COVID-19 kay patient. Kaya, ayun, needs additional drug therapy kasi nga untreated yung condition, yung co-infection ni patient, which is COVID-19. Then wrong drug therapy condition refractory to drug, more effective drug available. Anong nangyari kasi, na-confuse talaga na upper respiratory tract infection yung patient, which is influenza A. Then, after 6 days, nung lumala yung symptom, doon yung nalaman na COVID-19 talaga. Then, thank God, dahil may CT scan sila, na-confirm yung pneumonia with COVID-19 and influenza A. Then, RT-PCR for influenza, pero hindi for COVID noong time na yan. Yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina. Then, bumalik si patient, tumala symptoms niya, limited na RT-PCR testing kit nila. Kaya inassume na nila agad na COVID-19 yun based sa CT scan na ginawa nila. 'Di ba? Meron siyang patchy ground glass opacity. After 2 days, na-confirm na COVID-19 talaga yung condition ng patient. So, na hindi lang for pneumonia but for detection din yung CT scan since may inflammation na sa lungs. So, pag COVID-19, ground glass opacity sa chest CT, and pag influenza, more on consolidation dapat ang lalabas sa result ng chest CT. Then, after diagnosis of COVID, binigyan na siya ng rightful treatment. Then, after 2 weeks, na-discharge na si patient and gumaling na siya. So, ayan, how the drug therapy problem are managed. Even if there is limited testing kit for detection of SARS-CoV-2, patient is treated with COVID-19 to have COVID-19 based on the CT findings. Hence, appropriate drug therapy was given, close contacts with patient is quarantined, and patient was admitted to an isolation ward. After 2 days, pharyngeal swab specimen was obtained confirming COVID-19 patient. Ayan, non-pharmacologic treatment for COVID-19 patient in general is to rest, regular hand washing, social distancing, wear face mask in public, proper ventilation kasi nga difficulty in breathing na si patient, drink vitamin C or boost your immune system, monitor continuously your symptoms, and RT-PCR should have detected COVID-19 earlier. And this is my references. So, going next to my second case, which is histoplasmosis. So, alam nyo ba na yung histoplasmosis is a darling disease? Kilala siya na caused by a dimorphic fungi, meaning dimorphic, ano siya, two types siya, or it occurs in two types, and yung fungi na yon is called Histoplasma capsulatum, na commonly nangyayari sa Ohio, Missouri, and Mississippi River Valley ng United States. So, we have a 30-year-old female presents with chronic shortness of breath and cough. This is a case study in 2023 by Sharma S. Rawati and Muhammad F. So, ayan, anatomy and physiology. Same lang siya sa COVID-19 co-infection, which is it targets the lower respiratory tract infection. Then to the epidemiology. So, incidence of histoplasmosis in adults ages 65 years and older in the United States to be 3.4 cases per 100,000 population. Rates were highest in the Midwest with an estimated 6.1 cases per 100,000 population. Nag-search ako ng epidemiology in the Philippine basis, pero very low lang talaga ang cases ng histoplasmosis sa atin, which is I presume that because of the environment. Commonly kasi ang fungi, nag-grow lang siya in temperatures, in low temperatures, moist temperatures, which is ang temperature natin in the Philippines, which is a tropical zone, is nakakapag-dead sa mga fungi natin. So, next, pathophysiology. Bali, yung fungi nga niya is Histoplasma capsulatum. Pag sa probovic or kumakain na ng decaying matter yung fungi, yung state ng Histoplasma capsulatum natin, mag-grow siya in mycelial form. Yun yung part ng fungi na hindi na nag-reproduce pero nag-grow sa ibang lugar, na nakakagawa ng macro and micronidia sa hyphae. Ito yung dahilan kung ba't lalo nag-spread ang fungi sa respiratory system natin. Yung mga conidia na yan, pwede maging yeast, depende sa temperature. So, 20 to 30 degrees, pero ang temperature natin internally, 37 degrees Celsius. Kaya typically self-limiting to kasi 'di ba, di na makaka-grow further ang fungi sa loob natin dahil sa temperature. Kailangan na lang i-manage yung symptoms at eliminate ang mga factors na nag-cause mag-spread yung pathogens like bird poop, contaminated soil kasi dahil sa mga pathogens sila nakaka-invade sa alveoli natin. And take note, very alarming ang fungal infections because dahil nga self-limiting dapat to, hindi mo agad makikita yung signs and symptoms unless malala na yung pag-infect ng fungal fungi sa'yo. Kaya kailangan talaga is consistently i-monitor natin or be aware with our surroundings, with our daily lifestyle, kung paano natin makokontract tong fungal infection in many ways. So, proper hygiene din talaga. Going back, meron kasi tayong neutrophils tsaka macrophages. Yun yung mga host defenses natin, pati yung T lymphocytes. Pero kasi, kapag impaired yung cellular immunity mo or compromised si patient, lalo siyang pwedeng mag-spread. Mako-convert yung mycelide to pathogenic yeast na histoplasma sa loob ng katawan natin. After nun, phagocytosis. Ito yung process ng engulfing and digesting foreign particles by macrophages. Then, mag-replicate yung yeast within 15 to 18 hours kahit fused yung yeast with lysosome. Kasi nga, may theory dito na nagpuproduce daw ng proteins na nag-inhibit ng lysosomal proteins ang yeast to combat nga yung lysosomes na pinoproduce ng ating mga host defenses. Pero may immune response tayo, which is yung host defenses na sinabi ko kanina. Kaya 1 to 2 weeks lang talaga dapat nagtatagal yung yeast sa katawan natin, which is yung pag-activate ng cytokine systematically natin sa mga macrophages. 'Di ba? Yung macrophages, sila yung typically lumalaban sa mga fungal infection sa katawan natin by engulfing and digesting nga yung infectious fungi. Ang common fungal infection sa mga tao is yung Candida albicans na fungi na vaginal yeast infection. Kasi nga acidic environment yung vagina natin, nag-grow doon yung mycelial cells natin. So, ayun na, 'di ba? Na-engulf and digest na ng macrophages yung yeast sa katawan natin. Matitrigger nito yung delayed type hypersensitivity reaction sa mga antigens ng histoplasma. Bale, magpo-form ng inflammatory response which is magpo-produce ng calcified fibrinous granulomas na may areas ng caseous necrosis, which is natitrigger niya yung hindi siya nagne-next. Anyways, ayun, matitrigger niya yung prolonged immune response natin. Wait, going back. Kapag na-eliminate na yung source ng pathogens, ayun nga kasi 'di ba, na nagka-produce na ng calcified fibrinous granulomas na may areas ng caseous necrosis, kailangan na lang talaga ma-eliminate yung source ng pathogens which is kay patient na may alagang 2 pet doves. Pwede niya ilagay yung doves niya sa labas ng bahay nila or wag na lang siya mag-alaga kasi yung feces sa doves niya, doon nagkakaroon ng infection si patient eh. Tas weakened pa immune system ni patient kaya na-develop na niya yung pulmonary infection na may possibility na mag-spread pa systematically. So, kailangan din niya muna palakasin immune system niya since ang immune response niya magiging entirely capable of eliminating the fungal infection within her body. So, ayan, initial evaluation, yung signs and symptoms ni patient is, meron na siya agad shortness of breath on exertion, weight loss, 20 pounds or 9 kilos, and cough. Dito kasi, yung sob niya, dati pa to 6 months ago, meron na siyang same symptoms, shortness of breath on exertion. Tapos, na-diagnose siya ng physician niya ng acute bronchitis. So, ang nangyari dito is, binigyan siya ng bronchodilators, empiric antibiotics, and a short course oral steroid taper. So, dito kasi talaga, dapat, hindi empiric antibiotics kasi for acute bronchitis, hindi yun yung first line treatment. Viral infection ng acute bronchitis, kaya limited yung evidence niya in treating acute bronchitis. Hence, dapat yung treatment is yung sa symptoms, including cough suppressants like dextromethorphan, which inhibits NMDA receptor to resist the urge to cough, mucolytics, which is acetylcysteine, which breaks down mucus for it to be less viscous, and bronchodilators, which is albuterol. Yun nga, tinrate siya naman with bronchodilator, which binds to beta-2 adrenergic receptors that relax smooth muscles to improve airflow. Kaso, yung treatment na to sa initial evaluation, nagpa-worsen ng symptoms ni patient. Kasi after 6 months, nakuha niya ulit yung sob on exertion. Tapos nagka-weight loss na rin siya. And cough, which worsen the symptoms. By the way, si patient kasi, meron siyang platelet count na 74,000 millimeters, square millimeter, cube millimeter, hemoglobin 8.3 grams, mild transaminase evaluation, blood cultures, chest x-ray. So, di pinakita yung picture ng chest x-ray na dito, pero sinabi dito na may mild interstitial pneumonitis siya. So, ito kasi si patient, based on her blood culture, may pancytopenia siya, which is low levels lahat ng 3 blood vessels niya. Low yung hemoglobin, low yung platelet, white blood cells. Then, may mild transaminase elevation siya, which is nagsasuggest ng inflammation kasi may mild elevation na siya ng transaminase niya. So, yung blood culture nga, chinek for bacterial infections, pero negative siya for bacterial growth or gram staining. So, yung bacteria, hindi siya immediate cause of these abnormalities. Kaya kailangan ng further investigation to determine the underlying cause ng pancytopenia, anemia, and liver enzyme elevation ni patient. Kaya kailangan pa ng imaging, kaya ito, in-imaging study si patient, which is yung chest x-ray, doon na perceive na may mild interstitial pneumonitis siya. Kasi nga, may pattern of small nodules scattered throughout the central areas of the lung lobule si patient, rather than larger consolidated areas. So, pwedeng may lung condition si patient na infection, inflammation, or type nga ng lung disease, which is bronchiolitis. So, pwede naman talaga acute bronchitis yung maging assumed na diagnosis sa kanya. Pero, ayun nga, 6 months ago, yun yung diagnosis sa kanya, which is acute bronchitis. Hindi nila further inalam yung ni patient. Yung history ni patient, kasi dito sa confirmatory evaluation kay patient, after 6 months na to ito na yung ngayon, present. Sa chest CT niya, may diffuse centrilobular macronodular pattern without focal consolidation. Ibig sabihin, may widespread distribution na ng small nodules affecting yung central areas ng secondary pulmonary lobes without any localized area of lung tissue consolidation. So, ayun nga, makikita to sa mga infections like tuberculosis, fungal infection, inflammatory diseases, or lung diseases talaga caused by inhalation ng mineral dust. So, dito kasi, ayun na yung bronchoscopy niya, bronchoalveolar lavage fluid was cloudy and muddy, pero not bleeding. So, dito, naisip na nila na fungal infection talaga siya. And based sa cytology, which is pag-detect nung fungal infection, kung anong fungi yon, Histoplasma capsulatum, yung fungi na na-detect na nasa lungs ni patient. So, commonly talaga, ang histoplasmosis, wala talagang treatment yan. Kasi nga, self-limiting yung fungal infection. Pero dito kay patient, may worsened symptoms na kasi siya. So, binigyan siya ng first-line treatment for fungal infections, which is itraconazole. Belongs siya sa azole class ng antifungal medication. So, ang ginagawa niya, ini-inhibit niya yung synthesis ng ergosterol, which is yun yung key component ng fungal cell membrane. Ang ergosterol kasi, function siya and structural integrity siya ng fungal cell membrane natin para makapagpadami pa siya. Pero pag inhibit na yung ergosterol synthesis, madidisrupt na yung fungal cell membrane ng histoplasma capsulatum natin, leading to leakage ng cellular contents and ultimately, lysis, fungal cell death. So, ang magiging nangyari, itraconazole, may fungistatic activity kasi siya. Ayun nga, ini-inhibit niya yung growth and replication ng fungus rather than killing it outright. Para ma-allow yung immune system to better control and eliminate yung fungal infection over time kasi nga self-limiting dapat to. So ang ginagawa lang talaga ng itraconazole, ini-inhibit niya yung pag-grow pa further and replicate ng fungi. Pero yung pag-kill ng fungal infection is based na sa immune system natin, sa system natin talaga. Tapos prescribe din siya ng amphotericin B kapag hindi siya nag-respond sa itraconazole for 2 weeks up to 1 year. Kasi nga, ang amphotericin B, polyene antifungal medication yan. Nagbabind siya sa ergosterol, which is ayun nga, component ng fungal cell membrane natin, para mag-form ng forms or channels within the membrane. Para mag-leak nga intracellular contents talaga ng fungi and magkaroon ng fungal cell death. So, unlike yung azo antifungals like itraconazole, yung amphotericin B may fungistatic itraconazole, si amphotericin B fungicidal yung activity niya, meaning kinikil niya directly yung fungi imbes na inhibit lang yung growth and replication na ginagawa ng itraconazole. Tapos pinrescribe din siya na kapag daw di nag-respond sa itraconazole, isabay niya amphotericin B sa methylprednisolone. So, itong methylprednisolone, corticosteroid kasi to with potent anti-inflammatory. So, ayun nga, based sa chest CT ni patient is may inflammation talaga sa lungs niya, sa bronchoscopy niya, yung lavage fluid niya, cloudy and muddy, tapos may micronodular pattern niya. So, by taking methylprednisolone, magbabind yung intracellular glucocorticoid receptors para mag-lead siya sa modulation ng gene expression and masuppress yung pro-inflammatory cytokines and mediators. So, marireduce yung inflammation in the lungs and ma-alleviate yung symptoms ni patient such as yung difficulty of breathing ni patient or shortness of breath on exertion and chest pain ni patient, para ma-improve yung pulmonary compliance and the ability of the lungs to expand and contract. Kasi nga, na-reduce na yung inflammation na nasa alveoli natin and ma-prevent yung formation ng scar tissues, lalo na 6 months ago is tinitreat na si patient with acute bronchitis. So, consistently nga, alam natin, kapag consistently nire-repair yung lung tissues natin, which will lead to fibrosis and eventually baka magkaroon ng scar tissue sa lungs, kaya mag-harden yung lungs natin, making it difficult for the lungs to function as mag-constrict and dilate. So, dito, ang drug therapy problem is wrong drug therapy talaga, which is condition refractory to drug and more effective drug available. Kasi nga, acute bronchitis, which is tama naman na pwede mong ma-evaluate as acute bronchitis yon. Kaso, sana talaga, nila yung patient history ni patient. I-give importance nila kasi dun lang nila, later on lang nila, nung nag-worsen na yung symptoms, later on lang nila nalaman na may 2 pet doves si patient na naging cause para mag-accumulate yung pathogens na ini-inhale ni patient. Yun nga, yung nagpapalakas ng fungal infection kay patient. So, drug not indicated for condition. Kasi nga, nag-worsen yung symptoms ni patient. May better drug talaga available kay patient or more effective drug available. Then, ayan. Then naman, unnecessary drug therapy, non-drug therapy more appropriate since self-limiting nga yung fungal infection and treating avoidable adverse reaction. So, dito pa lang talaga, patient history. Kapag naalam na talaga nila yon, edi na-eliminate na sana nila yung pathogens or inoculation yung word talaga, na ini-inhale ni patient daily kasi nga meron siyang 2 pet doves. So, paano nga na-manage yung drug therapy problem? Na-reveal nga after further evaluation and sa bronchoscopic findings, yung cloudy and muddy fluid lavage, doon nalaman na ay fungal infection to, and lalo na yung patient history ni patient na meron siyang 2 pet doves. doon nalaman na fungi yung cause. Dahil nga, alam natin, histoplasmosis dahil siya sa bird droppings or sa soil na contaminated. Ayan. So, in-inhale, may inoculation kay patient. Kaya nag-accumulate yung pathogens within her respiratory system. Ayon sa bronchoscopic findings din kasi natin is, merong si patient, diba? Nodular pattern. Kaya ma-inflamed na yung lungs ni patient. Dito nga, yung oral steroid niya, nung niresetahan siya ng acute bronchitis, ang ginagawa kasi nun is for severe wheezing talaga to reduce inflammation and reduce the dose depending on severity of symptoms. So, yung natural cortisol production dapat mag-resume and minimize withdrawal symptoms kaya tinitaper yung oral steroid. Ayan, backup ko lang. So, next, recommendations. Ayan, sinabi ko na kanina na empiric antibiotics is not the first line treatment for acute bronchitis. Shows little evidence based on the search ko. Acute bronchitis kasi nga, viral infection siya. So, antibacterials, limited talaga evidence in treating acute bronchitis. So, dapat talaga yung treatment na binigay kay patient is treatment sa symptoms. Like yung cough suppressants nga, mucolytics, and yung bronchodilators. Then, non-pharmacologic treatment is rest and hydration, smoking cessation. Meron kasing history si patient na nag-smoke daw siya. Pero 6 months ago, nung na-diagnose siya ng acute bronchitis, tinigil niya ang pagsusmoke niya pero lumala pa rin yung symptoms niya eh. So, ayan, remove the birds temporarily or mas maganda habang nagtitreat si patient, dun siya sa lugar na wala muna yung 2 pet doves niya. Wear gloves and a mask when handling birds or cleaning cage. Ito yung pag na-discharge na si patient. Proper hygiene talaga. Regularly clean and disinfect area with birds. Keep surroundings dry and well ventilated. Dahil dun nabubuhay yung mga fungi natin sa moist environment and sa 20 to 30 degrees Celsius temperature. And regular monitoring ng symptoms or ng symptoms ni patient kasi nga self-limiting to, hindi mo malalaman na meron ka na palang fungal infection unless malala na yung symptoms mo. Ayan, si patient kasi natin immunocompromised, which means na na-expose na siya to high quantity of inoculum. Yun yung bird droppings. So, dapat kinolektahan talaga nila ng more detailed history of patient talaga to choose the appropriate treatment modality. Kasi nga, pag wrong or kapag iba yung evaluation, dun talaga naiiba yung treatment. Take note natin, ano ba talaga yung condition ni patient? Kaya bakit dapat ganito yung treatment na ibibigay natin kay patient? Si patient, nag-travel siya sa Mexico 1 year ago. Pero, hindi naman, ang histoplasmosis, prevalent talaga siya sa Midwest, Central, Southeastern America. So, or Eastern Canada. So, dahil talaga yun sa 2 pet doves niya, kaya siya nagka-fungal infection. Nag-accumulate na yung inoculum niya. So, nag-quit na siya smoking 6 months ago nga nung unang symptoms pa lang. Pero, ayun, nag-worsen pa rin yung symptoms niya kasi nga, there's a more drug therapy effective kay patient. And dapat, hindi acute bronchitis talaga yung evaluation kay patient. And yung treatment with empiric antibiotics is not necessary talaga. Gold standard in diagnosis of histoplasmosis is pag kinulture na yung organism, which is yung sa cytology nga, yung bronchoscopy, nalaman nila na histoplasmosis or histoplasma capsulatum, yung fungi na nag-infect sa lower respiratory tract ni patient. Then, always monitor yung chest x-ray. Ay, na-monitor naman nila na may mild interstitial pneumonitis kanina. Then, intensive care unit. So, ayan, kapag kailangan na ni patient ng respiratory support for rapid decompensation, like yung non-invasive BPAP, like yung bilevel positive air pressure, yun yung mag-air mask na si patient without intubation. Kasi nga, diba, nahirapan na mag-gas exchange si patient kasi infected yung alveoli niya eh. So, ito, may respiratory support, lalo na immunocompromised pa si patient. So, ayan, yan yung mga recommendations ko. And this is my references. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned well about the 2 cases, which is influenza A virus with a co-infection of SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 and a patient with histoplasmosis. Ayan. Thank you, guys.